Silver's latest move unfolded with a speed and magnitude that immediately redefined the market landscape. Prices surged to a peak of $93.30, a level never before recorded, before settling slightly lower around $92.75. Even at that level, silver was still up more than 6.5%, underscoring how forceful the advance had been within a very short span of time. This was not a marginal breakout, but a decisive leap into new territory. Gold moved in parallel, reinforcing the sense that the entire precious metals complex was under strong upward pressure. Trading near its own all-time high of $4,624.50, gold remained elevated even as attention gravitated towards silver's more dramatic rise. The proximity of gold to its record level added weight to the moment, signaling that the move in silver was occurring alongside broad strength rather than in isolation. What distinguishes this episode is not only the price levels themselves, but the immediacy with which they were reached. Silver did not grind higher over an extended period. It accelerated into the low 90s with remarkable momentum. The market shifted from discussing potential resistance levels to confronting the reality of prices that had already surpassed historical benchmarks. This opening snapshot establishes the conditions under which subsequent events unfolded. With silver pressing above $93, gold near its peak, and volatility elevated, the market entered a phase where previously unthinkable outcomes began to materialize. The significance of what followed cannot be separated from the scale of this initial surge. The surge in silver was mirrored by a pronounced shift in its relationship with gold. As prices accelerated, the gold-to-silver ratio narrowed to below 50, a level that marked a clear departure from recent norms. This compression reflects how much faster silver was rising relative to gold, translating the price action into a single comparative measure that captured the imbalance between the two metals. The ratio's move below 50 is presented as descriptive rather than predictive. It signals that silver's advance was not simply tracking gold's strength, but outpacing it. While gold remained near its own record highs, silver's sharper ascent altered the long-standing proportional relationship between the two markets. The ratio became a shorthand for the intensity of silver's move within the broader precious metals complex. This shift also reframed how the market environment was being interpreted. When the ratio tightens to this degree, attention naturally concentrates on silver's role as the driver of momentum. The episode emphasizes that this development occurred alongside already elevated gold prices, reinforcing that the ratio change was driven primarily by silver's acceleration rather than by weakness in gold. By highlighting the ratio's break below 50, the discussion deepens the context established by the initial price surge. It shows that the move was not only historic in absolute terms, but also transformative in relative terms. This recalibration set the stage for the unprecedented events that followed, signaling that the silver market had entered a phase where established reference points were being overtaken. The first of the unprecedented developments highlighted in the episode emerged not in Western markets, but in China. On the Shanghai Gold Exchange, silver began trading above $100 for the first time ever. This milestone marked the arrival of triple-digit pricing in the Chinese market, a development presented as historically significant rather than symbolic. It represented a clear divergence between domestic Chinese pricing and levels seen elsewhere. The episode emphasizes that this was not a brief anomaly or an isolated print. Silver trading over $100 on the Shanghai Exchange reflected sustained conditions within that market. By crossing into triple digits, the Chinese price effectively moved beyond the psychological and numerical boundaries that had previously defined silver's upper range. The fact that this occurred for the first time underscores why it is framed as unprecedented. This development also broadened the geographic scope of the story. Silver's surge was no longer confined to US or global benchmark pricing. It was being echoed, and in this case exceeded, within one of the world's most important precious metals markets. The Shanghai Gold Exchange serves as a central venue for Chinese trading, and its pricing carries weight within regional and international contexts. By highlighting triple-digit silver in China, the episode underscores how extreme current conditions had become. While silver was surging into the low 90s elsewhere, the Chinese market was already registering prices above 100. This contrast reinforced the sense that traditional reference points were breaking down, setting the stage for additional disruptions that would soon follow. As these record prices took hold, the episode draws attention to a notable change in how silver was trading on a day-to-day basis. One of the clearest indicators was the widening of the bid and ask spread, which was reported at 25 cents. This spread represents the gap between the price buyers are willing to pay and the price sellers are willing to accept, and its expansion signals altered trading conditions. The discussion treats this change as a direct reflection of the current market environment rather than as an abstract technical detail. In periods of relative calm, spreads tend to remain tight. Here, the widening to 25 cents occurred alongside rapid price movement and heightened uncertainty, suggesting that participants were adjusting to fast-changing conditions. Prices were moving quickly enough, that consensus between buyers and sellers required a larger buffer. This adjustment in the spread also highlights the intensity of demand and volatility surrounding silver. As prices surged toward and beyond historical extremes, the mechanics of trading adapted accordingly. The episode does not attribute the change to a single cause, but presents it as part of the same broader shift affecting prices, ratios, and availability across markets. By including the bid-ask spread alongside headline price levels, the discussion deepens the picture of how extraordinary the moment had become. It shows that the impact of silver's surge was visible not only in record prices, but also in the finer details of market function, where even the basic process of matching buyers and sellers had begun to reflect stress. The second unprecedented event unfolded within the United States itself, at an institution normally associated with stability and continuity rather than abrupt disruption. The U.S. Mint suspended all silver sales on its website, effectively making it impossible to purchase any silver products directly from the mint. This halt was attributed to the rapid increase in silver prices, which moved faster than the Mint's ability to maintain active pricing and inventory availability. The episode frames this action as highly unusual. The U.S. Mint does not routinely stop sales of an entire metal category, particularly not silver, which forms a core part of its retail and numismatic operations. The decision to suspend all silver sales signaled that price volatility had reached a level where normal adjustments were no longer sufficient. Rather than raising prices incrementally, the Mint stepped back entirely. This suspension carried practical consequences for retail buyers. With no silver products available through the Mint's website, a direct channel for purchasing government-issued silver was suddenly closed. The episode emphasizes the abruptness of this shift, highlighting how access changed not gradually but almost overnight as prices accelerated. By placing the Mint's decision alongside record prices and international developments, the discussion underscores how deeply the surge had penetrated institutional frameworks. When a national mint halts sales in response to price movement, it reflects more than market enthusiasm. It reveals a system temporarily unable to reconcile rapid price discovery with fixed operational processes, marking a moment rarely seen in the modern silver market. The episode then focuses on the narrow window that existed just before the suspension took effect. The speaker notes that it was still possible to purchase silver from the U.S. Mint at prices below the prevailing spot level immediately prior to the shutdown. This detail is presented as a factual observation rather than as commentary, underscoring how quickly conditions shifted. The ability to buy silver under spot from an official source stands in sharp contrast to what followed. Once sales were halted, that access disappeared entirely. The episode uses this sequence to illustrate the speed with which pricing and availability flipped, moving from favorable terms to complete unavailability in a very short time frame. This moment also highlights the lag that can occur between market prices and institutional pricing systems. The Mint's offerings briefly reflected conditions that no longer aligned with the rapidly rising spot market. As prices surged, the gap closed abruptly, not through gradual repricing, but through a full suspension of sales. By including this detail, the discussion reinforces the theme of dislocation running through the episode. Record prices, widening spreads, and halted sales all point to a market moving faster than established mechanisms can adapt. The underspot purchase becomes less a standalone anecdote and more an illustration of how extraordinary the moment had become. Several broader forces are identified as contributing to the surge in precious metals, beginning with geopolitical uncertainty. The episode references unrest in China as one element feeding into market anxiety, while no single event is isolated as decisive. The presence of instability in a major global economy is presented as a factor that heightens sensitivity to risk and reinforces interest in assets perceived as protective during periods of uncertainty. The discussion also points to the United States' approach toward acquiring Greenland as another source of geopolitical tension. This development is framed not in terms of outcome, but as an example of unconventional geopolitical maneuvering that adds to a sense of unpredictability in international relations. Such actions, when layered onto existing uncertainties, contribute to an environment where investors reassess exposure to traditional financial assets. Protests in Iran are included as a further element in this landscape. The episode treats these events collectively rather than individually, emphasizing their cumulative effect. Each instance of unrest adds to a broader narrative of global instability, which in turn supports heightened interest in precious metals. By grouping these geopolitical factors together, the discussion presents them as part of a shared backdrop rather than isolated catalysts. The emphasis remains on atmosphere rather than causality. In this environment of overlapping uncertainties, silver and gold are shown to benefit from renewed attention as markets respond to a world perceived as increasingly volatile. Beyond geopolitics, the episode identifies several financial and policy-related influences reinforcing the move in precious metals. One of the most prominent is the expectation of further interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve. Investors are described as betting that additional cuts will be used to support U.S. economic growth, a backdrop that tends to favor assets viewed as alternatives to yield-based instruments. This expectation forms part of the broader environment in which silver and gold gained momentum. Developments within China's financial markets are also highlighted. A revival in sentiment across those markets is presented as another contributor to rising precious metals prices. Improved confidence and activity in China's financial system coincided with strength in commodities, reinforcing silver's advance at a time when demand was already elevated. The episode does not separate cause and effect, but places this revival alongside other supportive conditions. Renewed criticism of the Federal Reserve from the Trump administration is cited as an additional factor. These attacks are framed as part of the political and economic discourse influencing market psychology. Public criticism of monetary authorities can heighten uncertainty around policy direction, which in turn feeds into demand for assets perceived as hedges against policy risk. Taken together, expectations of rate cuts, shifting sentiment in China, and political pressure on the Fed are presented as reinforcing forces. They deepen the sense that the financial environment is in flux, adding to the pressures already created by geopolitical uncertainty. Within this setting, the surge in silver and gold is shown as the product of multiple overlapping influences rather than a single dominant trigger. Another structural element underpins the price surge described in the episode, a persistent imbalance between supply and demand. The video notes that silver has been in a deficit for the 6th consecutive year, meaning that total demand has exceeded available supply year after year. This condition is presented as an ongoing backdrop rather than a sudden development, but one whose effects become more visible as prices accelerate. The deficit is linked in particular to industrial demand. Silver's role in industrial applications has continued to draw material out of the market, tightening availability over time. The episode emphasizes that this draw is not episodic but sustained, contributing to cumulative pressure on supply. As demand persists across multiple years without being fully met, the market enters a more fragile state. Within this context, price movements take on additional significance. When a market already operating in deficit encounters a surge in investment interest, the resulting strain becomes more acute. The episode does not quantify the shortfall beyond noting its duration, but uses the 6-year streak itself as evidence that the imbalance is structural rather than temporary. By situating the deficit alongside record prices and institutional disruptions, the discussion reinforces the idea that current conditions are layered. The surge toward and beyond $90 is not occurring in isolation, but against a backdrop of prolonged supply tightness. This structural pressure forms part of the foundation on which the unprecedented events of the episode have unfolded. The episode closes by widening its view beyond silver and returning to the broader precious metals complex. Platinum is noted as also posting significant gains, reinforcing the sense that strength is not confined to a single metal. This additional movement supports the idea that market forces are acting across the sector, even as silver remains the focal point due to the scale of its advance and the disruption surrounding it. Taken together, the developments outlined form a picture of a market in extreme transition. Silver's surge to over $93, the compression of the gold to silver ratio below 50, and the emergence of triple-digit pricing in China establish the magnitude of the price shock. These moves are accompanied by tangible changes in market function, from widening bid-ask spreads to the suspension of official silver sales in the United States. The episode emphasizes that these are not isolated curiosities, but interconnected responses to the same underlying conditions. Geopolitical uncertainty, shifting expectations around interest rates, revived sentiment in China, political pressure on monetary authorities, and a multi-year supply deficit all converge to shape the environment. Institutional responses, such as the U.S. Mint halting sales, reflect the strain placed on systems designed for more stable conditions. The conclusion remains restrained and observational. Rather than forecasting outcomes, it frames this moment as one where established reference points have been overtaken. Prices, availability, and institutional behavior have all shifted in ways rarely seen before, marking a phase in the silver market defined not only by record numbers, but by unprecedented adjustments across the entire ecosystem.